faith without works is dead. If you don't operate in the faith of God and the intentions of God, if you don't walk in it, you're not going to see any type of fruits of your labor. And I feel like most people get comfortable with saying, oh, God will do it. I put it in God's hands, because God is still going to move on your behalf.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as much as you being a Lord and not doing nothing and working towards what God says you can have, he still blesses you.
Yeah.
His hand is still on you.
Yeah.
Like, your purpose does not change just because you decide to be a Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
all right, family. Welcome back to the pod, to the Zamat's pod. Listen, we want to talk to you guys about a law that I think is underrated. It's under communicated. It's not talked about enough, and it's called the law of intention, right? And the law of intention is, in order for anything to change, you have to first set an intention, right? You have to set an intention for something to change. Things don't just change naturally, right? They don't just get better. They don't just evolve, so to speak. That word evolve came from a gentleman known as Charles Darwin, who was actually a racist. He wasn't a scientist at all. In fact, the name of his book, The Origin of Species, the full title of it is The Origin of Species, or the Preservation of Favored Races in the Struggle for Life, right? So he was actually a racist. Charles Darwin was a racist. Therefore, evolution was not, there's nothing scientific about evolution. It's like a cult. It's like a religion, right? So there's no such thing as evolution. There's growth, right? There's growth, there's change, but there's no evolution. Things don't just evolve from nothing, right? That's not how it works. But anyway.
Well, the definition of it, okay, because, yeah, what you said, yeah, but
Excuse me, I got the baby right now. He's just jumping in, chiming
where's
in.
Where's the baby at? The baby is right here. Okay. Skirt. Anyways, the definition of it is develop gradually, especially from a simple to a more complex form.
Exactly.
But the chemistry behind it is the energy evolved during this chemical change is transferred to water. I'm using it in the tense of evolve is something that happens over time. Our relationship grew over time. It wasn't like, oh, it was a sudden change.
Hold on, pause. You're moving too fast. This is a great conversation. Our relationship grew over time. It didn't evolve.
But I'm just using the term grew, but okay, our relationship evolved.
No, it didn't evolve. Evolution, no, that's what I'm saying. That's the point. But read the definition again.
Develop gradually, especially from a simple to more complex form.
Nothing develops gradually from a simple to a more... That goes against the second law of thermodynamics.
I get where you're coming.
No, you don't. So let me read it.
Yes, I do. I get where you're coming from with it. However, the word in itself isn't negative, because Mr. Charles is a racist and a dum-dum. Like, that doesn't... It's so many different ways that you can use words. It's so many different definitions to a word than what this little tainted man made it out to be. So while I get what you're saying, the scientific fact of it, that's not how I'm using it. I'm using on the standpoint of that something happening gradually over time is an evolvement, which can also be used as change. Like, there's different ways to use it.
So I quote this law a lot, right? And it's the second law of thermodynamics, right? Which is entropy. And entropy says that anything left to itself tends to move more and more towards disorder, right? Now, we know this to be true based on facts, okay? If you leave a car in the middle of the jungle and you don't do anything with that car, you just leave it there for a year, you come back, is the car going to be shinier and nicer and cleaner, or is it going to be dirtier and rusty and the tires probably corroded, right? That. Anything left to itself tends to move more and more towards disorder. So Charles Darwin, in his theory, he states that things just naturally evolve. They naturally get better over time. That is completely false. Things don't just get better. right? You have to set an intention for something to get better, right? And in order for anything to change in your life and for it to grow or get better, there has to be intention. You have to act on it. If not, it's going to go the opposite way, right? It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. Okay, that's why if you don't weed the garden, the weeds take over the garden. If you don't set an intention, if you don't water the seed, right, then the seed is just going to die, right? It's going to go away. Nothing's going to happen. Okay, so intention is the first step in growth or change. Okay, and what I was saying about Charles Darwin is this racist bigot is stating that things can just gradually get better over time, and I do not believe that at all. That's nowhere near true. Okay, and we know that to be true just based on our life. Okay.
Yeah, but that's based off of him and his study, and like it's so many different factors of evolving in that term, like that word.
No,
it's not.
No, even the definition, babe. That's what I'm saying.
I see the definition, and I'm using the definition for what it says. You're going more into the scientific fact of it. I'm not talking about Mr. Charles. Like you and Mr. Charles, y'all have that beef.
But no, we don't. I don't have no beef with Charles Darwin.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
So my whole standpoint of it is not that gradually over time our relationship just magically evolved because that's just how it works. No, gradually over time we worked towards little bitty things.
Exactly. We set an intention. Created
the involvement of our relationship.
No, babe.
It's not a negative word.
No, but you're missing my point.
I get your point. You're not getting my point.
No, you don't get my point because you're completely contradicting what I'm saying about what you're saying.
Yeah, but I don't have to 100% agree with you don't like the word. I like the word. There's nothing negative about the word.
That's not true.
But you're coming from the scientific fact of it in Mr. Charles.
No,
and the whole take Charles. Because when you hear about evolution, you have that, like, that's the first thing to come to mind is this little.
No, okay, so take Charles Darwin out the picture. Let's go directly to the definition. Okay. And we're going to point out how it's a lie. The definition of evolve says develop gradually. That is a lie right there. Nothing develops gradually.
Yes, it does.
Over time. No, things don't. No, you have to set an intention for it to develop.
Yes.
But that's not what it says. It just says develop gradually, especially from a simple to a more complex form. So this is saying that something can go from simple to complex over the course of time. That is a half truth, which is a lie. Period. That's a half truth, babe. That nothing, like if you don't take action on something, it won't just develop and gradually go from simple to complex. Okay, so
it's missing an adjective. It's described as what it say, a verb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I get what you're saying.
Okay, good. So you get what I'm saying. So we good. Okay. So
we're good, and I still stand on big business behind what I said, and you stand on big business behind you said, and that is fine. That is okay.
Okay.
I'm still going to use the word. I still like the word, and I know that I'm using the word as an adjective and you're using it as a verb.
No, I'm not using it.
You're not using it at all. I'm sorry. Oh, Lord. Let me back. Yeah. He's not using it at all.
I'm not using the word evolve. Okay.
Okay.
That's just
not too much. Okay.
So, but anyway, listen, in life, some people use God as a clutch, right? They use God as an excuse to not do things, right? They say God is going to take care of it. God will handle it. No. Okay. God's given you a will. God has given you the ability to, God has given you the ability to choose, the ability to make decisions, right? And if you make a decision that's detrimental to your success, then that's on you. That's not on God. If you make a decision that is, moving you closer to your success, that's on you as well, right? I mean, God is no respecter of persons. God is a respecter of principle. His principles that he's established and his laws that he's established. If you follow those laws and you do what you're supposed to do, then you're going to get the result. If you don't follow it, then the consequence is built into not following the law. God doesn't have to punish you. God doesn't have to judge you. It's built into the action, right? So when people say silly things like, God will take care of it, or I'm waiting on God, that is senseless. Okay. That doesn't make any sense. That's not biblical. Okay, you waiting on God. That doesn't make sense.
He waiting on you.
He waiting on you. Okay, that doesn't make sense. You have the ability to make a decision and to choose right from wrong. Right? It said, "Choose ye this day, okay, whom you will serve." All right. So
Wow.
I listen. Y'all understand where I'm going with this? Okay, setting your intention and your life is going to be the best thing that you can do. If listen, being lukewarm is the worst thing that you can be. Okay, so you either want it or you don't want it. You want to come or you want to go. You want to leave or you want to stay. Like, just make the decision. But once you make the decision, you move towards that, right? And being in the middle, I've been guilty of it, right? Like being lukewarm, being in the middle, not just being unsure. Nobody likes somebody that's indecisive, right? Anybody that's been indecisive in your circle, you know, like, that's a headache. When my wife tells me she's hungry, and I ask her what she wants to eat,
seafood,
and she does say seafood, but sometimes she'll say, I don't know. We're gonna stay home and eat, okay? Because indecision is the worst. Okay, I just use that as an example. Okay.
Don't pet me. Don't ever pet me again in your life. Because, babe, you're indecisive as well.
Yeah, of course. That's why I said I've been guilty of it as well. I'm not talking down on nobody. I'm just speaking what's on my heart, right? I ain't talking down. I'm a human. I'm guilty of all of these things that I talk about. Every last one of them, okay? So don't put me on the pedestal. I'm guilty of all of it. Okay? But what I'm saying is I'm speaking truth. Okay? And I'm speaking it with I'm speaking it with a little attitude. Okay. Right? Because this is our platform and I can do that. Okay, so anyway, don't do that. So I got a question for you, sweetheart. What do you think is the reason that people try to use God as an excuse, or they try to, think that things are just going to happen for them without them setting their intention? What do you think is the reason for people doing that?
I think the main reason is because they've never seen anybody actually do anything in regards of action. I feel like a lot of believers are not action based. They preach faith, but they don't know what faith really is. And God has pure intention towards us. So it's like, with intention comes effort and work. Mm-hmm. I can have all the intention in the world to lose this pregnancy weight. Mm-hmm. My intentions is to lose the weight. Mm-hmm. But I haven't stepped on a scale. I haven't changed my eating habits. I haven't walked a mile in 10 years. Right. Like, there's that statement, pure intentions will send you to hell. Mm-hmm. You can have the most pure intent, but until you have that action, until you do something, it's just pointless. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of times, like, people don't really they have the intention. So that's the thing. I feel like everyone has the intention to do right, to do, what God says it is that they can do, and what God says that we can do. Because He has already set an intention. The Bible is nothing but an intention and a plan for everyone's life. What we decide to do with that is the difference. You see the difference between somebody that has the intention of God and has walked into it, and the person that just leaves it with the intent. With God, you have the manuscript and you just leave it at that. Like, God would do it. Well, God said I can have all things through Him, and leave it at that. You haven't put no work. God is going to provide me with a house. You don't have a job. You have no income coming in. Right. You haven't even got up off your butt to try to bring in other income or try to even ask for help. Yeah. But it's just going to fall in your lap. If it's the Lord's will, God's already told you His will and His way and His intentions for you. It's your job, it's your duties to get up and go get it. Yeah. So I feel like it's fear. And it's really the knowledge of not really knowing what faith is and what what that entails.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Bible says, faith without works is dead. It's exactly that. Faith without works is dead. If you don't operate in the faith of God and the intentions of God, if you don't walk in it, you're not going to see any type of fruits of your labor. And I feel like most people get comfortable with saying, oh, God will do it. I put it in God's hands, because God is still going to move on your behalf.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as much as you being a Lord and not doing nothing and working towards what God says you can have, he still blesses you.
Yeah.
His hand is still on you.
Yeah.
Like, your purpose does not change just because you decide to be a Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so
yeah.
I feel like that's why, because one, people don't have the knowledge of it, have never seen
Mm-hmm.
faith without works is dead. Everyone hears it, but no one actually walks in it. No one actually, like, puts the pedal to the metal.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like more so now, you're seeing more of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people like, no, I'm not about to sit back and say, oh, the Lord will take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord has already taken care of it.
Right.
Like, he's already done it. When he said, I made a way for you, when he said, I prepared a table for you, it's already done.
Mm-hmm.
You have to walk towards it. You have to put that action.
You got to put the work in.
You have to.
Yeah.
So
it ain't just going to happen. So, yeah, I mean, ultimately, y'all, listen, this is our conclusion, right? And we just wanted to share the message of intention, right? If you want things to happen in your life, you want things to change, you want things to grow, you want things to get better, you have to set an intention.
Mommy.
And
Mommy.
shh, as you set this intention, then, you know, you begin to work towards that intention, and it'll all pan out for you. All right, so we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Our children just walked in here. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see y'all next
turn on
week.
post notifications.
That's it. Let
What
love
you
for
gotta
your
say?
hearts, family.
Peace and blessings. Bye.
Bye. Say bye-bye.
Mommy.